My name is Dianne Semmens. I'm the Managing Director at Acacia Consulting.
We're excited to have the opportunity to present Velixo with you, lovely Acacia customers today.
Velixo is a product that's been around probably 10 years. There's a significant number of clients.
ERP reporting, budgeting and data automation.
It is such a phenomenal tool when working with Acumatica, which is a mailable product. You can morph it into doing all sorts of things.
We know today that there's a number of challenges around the space. So what is the solution?
My name is Dianne Semmens. I'm the Managing Director at Acacia Consulting. And today we asked the lovely Toni, thank you for joining us, Toni, from Velixo to just show us the product. We know Velixo can drive efficiency in your software by you not having to do these links all the time. So thank you for joining us, Toni.
Thank you so much, Di, for the warm intro, and thank you everybody for making time to catch up today and join us. We're excited to have the opportunity to present Velixo with you, lovely Acacia customers today.
Velixo is a product that's been around for, I would say, probably 10 years.
Absolutely, and the first slide talks exactly about that. So let's jump to this. As you can see, the number there is 3,500 customers.
Wow.
We have globally now, which is really great. But more specific to this region, 700 is the number of MYOB Acumatica customers that use Velixo. And as Di said there, Gabrielle is very passionate. Acumatica used to be in the labs, and this is where the product was born and formed from the real need that he could see out in the community.
Yeah.
We're very happy to be able to work with over 200 of our partners. So like Acacia in the room today, partners are the experts when it comes to your business and how they've implemented MYOB Acumatica. And so we don't try and be an expert in all things. That they are intimately familiar with your business. And so this is why the partnership between Velixo and these partners work. Over the years, we have received many awards. We're very proud of these awards. As you can see right at the top, most recently we won the App of the Year award. But at the end of the day, what are all these awards about? It's about the customer experience. We want to make sure that we're delivering a product that customers love to use and really see value in. And so being rated, number one in the marketplace is all about the customer experience. We know today that there's a number of challenges around the space, so ERP reporting, budgeting and data automation. And I'll just pull up these three challenges that I'll talk to. The first one is, yes, within MYOB Acumatica, there are some standard reports that come with the product that you'll be familiar with, that you'll start using. And what we often hear is customers saying, oh, can I add another column? Can I slightly, change the format? Give me additional filters. The second challenge is, finding ways to grab the data that you need and putting it into Excel anyway. But once you do that, it's quite manual. And then your data that you're working with is no longer up to date. The third challenge is not so much in the reporting space, but more around that manual workload that you find entering data. So this could be, your standard month-end process. This could also be in any of the other entry screens. And it's important that this data is accurately entered, so you're kind of taking your time, whether it's budgets. So what is the solution? Today we're going to talk about Velixo helping in this space. Our goal is to bring your ERP, which is MYOB Acumatica, and your Excel worlds together. So we know that not only the finance people, but people across the board, using Excel for different reasons. And whether that's, as we said, doing your analysis, dumping data in there so you can analyze things better. But hoping what you'll see today is that Velixo will transform your static Excel sheets into a dynamic real-time extension of MYOB Acumatica. We don't have a data warehouse, so there is no data warehouse sitting behind Velixo. We are offering real-time reporting essentially through your live exploring of the data, the query, and any of our pre-built templates. So the experience is going to be nice and seamless from your Excel worksheet. You're going to create a secure connection to your Acumatica data. Now, we talk about being bi-directional. So I'll show you how we're not only just about pulling the data into Excel, but also enabling you to push data back into Acumatica. So this could be relevant for your budgeting and your month-end journals, any forecast you need to do. But then we note there any data. So we have a great feature called Universal Write Back. And this is going to allow you to really find different ways in your business to simplify and streamline that data entry process. We talk about zero IT dependency because generally you know where Excel lives. You can find Excel and install the add-in, and you don't need your IT team to come and configure a whole set of parameters and install and go through a whole implementation. So really nice to get up and running. The last point on the slide is all about us living inside a Microsoft 365 application, which is Excel, and thereby you're able to unlock everything that Microsoft is offering in the Excel space. You pretty much know what those need to look like. You can configure those in Velixo, and every month just have Velixo create those journals for you. So rather than keying in those thousands of rows of different branches or locations, however your journals are separated out. Then we talk about budgeting and planning. We have a great budget write back feature. So we know that customers use Excel for their budgets, and it's not only about creating the budget and modeling all your data, but then that manual step about pushing back that budget into Acumatica. But it doesn't only affect your GL. Velixo is a tool that you can get access to all of your data inside Acumatica. So I'll show you a couple of other templates. Debtors, creditors, inventory, all of these areas are opportunities to get the data that you need and report on what your business needs are. So we talk about operational reporting and analysis, and then this final data quality section. I'm going to highlight a couple of things in our product. So essentially you'll see Velixo has been added into the ribbon at the top, and the way to find us is simply on the add-in section. So once that's added in, the connection manager is the first step. Now this is where you'll create that connection I mentioned to your Acumatica data. So as you can see, you have a number of parameters that you'll pop in. We do obviously support single sign-on, so you'll be able to go and configure that also. Now, when you give this a name, you would essentially just call this connection as something that you can reference. So if you do have multiple companies or multiple tenants, as you can see, you can build a list here in this connection manager to all of those companies that you do want to extract data from. Basically, what I'll show you on this profit and loss that I've opened up, if I click into this cell, you'll see that I have a function here called account turnover. Now these are the additions of what Velixo adds into Excel for you. Now these functions are going to be nice and easy to use. They're fully documented on our website. So you'll see this account turnover has actually got a hyperlink. So if you're not sure on kind of where to get started, the website will be a great place to give you information about these functions. And they are just simply pre-programming Excel to go and fetch specific information from Acumatica. So that little green arrow that you see kind of running around is that showing you that we're collecting real-time data from Acumatica. So these reports are up to date when you open them, when you press the refresh button, or then when you kind of change something on that screen. So I think customers immediately see the value. We have one customer that says, every time I just go and press refresh, you're saving me 2 or 3 hours of work where I would normally have to manually go and extract these things. So these reports have already been designed to help you calculate days of supply, your stock on hand, any turnover ratios, and so a lot of this, the value. Now our team will continue to build out these templates as well. So I think this is a great way that we show how closely integrated we are with MYOB Acumatica. Why there's, as we said, 3,500 customers today using our product is because the numbers are the same, and you get that confidence when you need to be able to talk to the detail. There is some selections you can make, as you can see. Do you want it to automatically release? Yes or no? Do you want to import any custom columns? depending on if Acacia has set up any of those customizations for you. If Velixo can pretty much, adhere to those rules that you've got. And then finally, do you want to import it when you actually, open it after you've imported? Is it an auto reversing? So these are just some highlights on those types of journals you might need. So you can think of, some examples. Customers give us feedback that they are saving hundreds and hundreds of hours by having the standard journals they process every month pre-configured, and you just go and perform this right back, create that journal. Now, we like to talk about budgets because budgeting is a process in itself, and everybody spends a lot of time doing budgets. I think, Excel is certainly a place where it's easy to do the calculations you need and kind of model up some of those scenarios that you need to budget for. I am just extracting a couple of columns of data, which is GL account based. I'm looking at prior year actuals, and then I'm simply applying a column here with a forecast number. So this could be something that you could adopt using this kind of template, or you could just continue using what you're doing. Ultimately, you're ending up with an amount that you're going to then distribute across your 12 periods to create your budget. With Velixo, what we see customers actually being able to do maybe more accurate intermittent forecasts. Let's say I have extracted the inventory items and I was updating prices. So many different great examples there. Now, the last thing I want to show you before we jump back to our slides is just a couple of the kind of tools that we have to distribute reports, okay? So one of them is our slice feature or snapshot feature. You think about these reports at the moment, all of them containing a Velixo formula. Now, that might be cool if you're the finance person and you're in there analyzing, but you might want to then package up these reports and be able to share them with the CEO or maybe the board, and you now need a version of this which doesn't have the Velixo formulas but actually has the final numbers that you've locked in. Okay, so the slice function, one of our customers actually asked for this feature, so we created it and added it into the product within the next few versions. It will, if you have multiple branches or cost centers, you think about the pain of having to run those combinations. If you're running a profit and loss for 20 branches and you have 5 departments, you're going to click and keep running those. Now, the slice feature is going to take care of all that heavy lifting for you. So you're going to tell it in this field, which branches you wanted to run this particular slice for you, and you can have those combinations as I mentioned. Then you can tell it, is it going to actually create a new workbook for you, or do you want it to put those sheets into the current workbook, or do you want it to actually distribute it? And then as you can see here, we have a selection. Do you want it to remove the Velixo formulas? And we also have all formulas, so it can actually remove all those Excel formulas for you as well, like the calculation there of the variance column, where you've got this column minus this column, so it can replace it with the actual values. The other one I wanted to show you and just talk through is the distribution one. So we know that people use email and kind of folder paths to dump files to. Those are the two ways you can share files. But we've got a number of use cases that we'll talk about here around how customers might be using this distribution. So essentially, this page is really just where you configure what it is that you want to send. So I'll just highlight this row and talk through this example where we want to send a profit and loss by branch. We only want it to send the profit and loss tab in that whole deck, and we want it to create consolidated branch, a services east and a services west sheet. So there's going to be a workbook created then with 3 tabs, and it will be the up-to-date numbers. It's going to remove the Velixo formulas. Okay, so you really just go through and you configure the various scenarios that you might need in this table. Then you can either go off and send all of them, or just highlight that particular row and choose the distribution set. So the last slide before we jump to any questions, Di, just wanted to run through kind of a couple of important things around Velixo. The first thing is pricing and quotes could be, Acacia team has got all of that in hand. So if you wanted to get information about Velixo, the user offerings and all of that, the Acacia team can look after you. Implementation, I mentioned, is really simple. It's quick. You add it through Excel quite quickly there. We have documented the Getting Started guide, which helps customers navigate to some of those pre-built templates and then be able to actually, go and experience that getting up and running nice and quickly. We have a Velixo Academy. There's lots of training available. This is on demand at no additional cost, and there's some great sessions there that you can actually go and, slowly start at a really basic stage all the way through to some of the more complicated formulas and functions. Finally, we wanted to make note of that if you do have any custom report requirements and you're kind of, everyone's day job is keeping them too busy, there is a great team on hand. Chris, who I believe is on the call today as well, from Alchemex. Chris has been doing and working with Velixo for over 6 years and comes highly recommended in terms of his experience helping customers build really complicated write-back scenarios and streamlining workflow inside their business, as well as some amazing decks and pre-built packs that Chris has available as well. So if you do have any custom reports, then we can pull Chris in to talk about what that experience looks like alongside Acacia.
Correct. We've used Chris quite extensively for the clients that already have.
It's that application of Velixo in weird and wonderful places where we come in. It is such a phenomenal tool when working with Acumatica, which is a mailable product. You can morph it into doing all sorts of things with the way it works. And then with Velixo, which for us is the most elegant BI tool out there, when combined with Excel, you can literally make it do anything.
And I will say the getting started documentation, the pre-built templates, I was pleasantly surprised by the number of templates that were available in that portal template area, and the academy, just being able to learn a bit yourself before you do it.
So this customer, Huri, implemented Velixo. They are a not-for-profit industry, and kind of some of their challenges were they had difficulty producing their reports. They had no Excel integration and were doing a lot of manual process to actually get some data out to their external stakeholders. So they've reported a 75% increase in their productivity since using Velixo. These are the stats that we all like to hear when we say, well, how long did it take you before? And then how long is it taking you now? Because time is really valuable, and you could rather be spending your time analyzing those numbers, putting things in place in the business that help you actually become, more profitable. The second one is about an egg producing company, and who doesn't love eggs? I think it's at the end of the day, you kind of identify with these very important customers in the world producing, products that end up on our shelves that we all love. 50 to 100 hours every month they're saving. And this can be then used for other things and kind of just that maybe, finance people just getting that work-life balance back together, where they're not having to work those extra hours because their reports are up to date and they can get stuff done on time. So they are also uploading thousands of lines instantaneously. They're importing external data through customizations. And so just overall, the theme becomes consistently, depending on the business. As I mentioned, price lists. These guys have customer price lists and they continually were changing. So now they have a couple of sheets with those templates sitting in Velixo, ready to upload whenever they need to.
I think what's also interesting about this customer, Daybreak Eggs, they're actually based in South Africa. And so they're using the actual Acumatica product out of the state or out of South Africa. So they're supported by a South African team. So I think that shows two things. One is, having a product that's available worldwide, and also having people that are using Velixo in all sorts of different countries, and for whole lots of different applications. One of the specific ones that Chris is working on for us is a client who actually has, the main company uses Acumatica, but several of their subsidiaries uses Sage, I believe. And so Chris is actually doing an integration that actually provides consolidation reports, including all the information from those Sage databases as well. So it's not, whilst we are purely talking about Acumatica because that's the product that we work with, it's actually really useful to use it with other products as well. So Rachel's asked a really good question, which is, so what happens when Excel gets updated? Does the ribbon disappear? Do they have to re-add on the add-in? Do they have to do anything?
No, the Excel version can be up to date whenever Microsoft updates that, and the Velixo versions are compatible. So we do our part in making sure that Velixo is updated, with any new additions from Microsoft when Excel versions become available. So no, our product has auto updates, given it's a cloud product, so you will not need to do anything.
I think we've finished with all the questions. I think everyone's okay with that. I've got a note of those questions, so our team will take care of that from there and get you in contact with the appropriate people as well. So I would like to, on behalf of all of you who've attended, say thank you for attending. It's a really nice turnout to see all of you here. Especially thank you to Toni for making her time available to spend some time with us. This is a great product, and if you are using Excel and you're also using Acumatica, you really should look at what this product can do for you. And Toni's more than happy to do a customized demo. Although I shouldn't say that too loudly because we don't want to do 22 demos, do we, Toni?
Oh, we don't mind at all, Di. We can just book those in when it suits everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks. Bye.